The United States contains 50 states, and according to the United States Geological Survey, there are around 35,000 cities and towns, making the population approximately 318.9 million according to studies in 2014. But before this country was created, nature thrived. There were rivers, waterfalls, mountains, and oceans that thrived with animals of many species. But most important of all, Native Americans roamed these lands, and thus our story begins. The Powhatans are a Native American tribe that are misinterpreted in history and today. Our goal for this documentary is to tell the true story of the Powhatan tribe and tell where they are today. You may recognize the Powhatan tribe from many popular movies, such as Disney's 1995 Pocahontas. In the movie, the settlers and natives got along happily in the end, but really, when the English arrived in Virginia in 1607, they encountered the Powhatan tribe and treated them poorly, running them off their lands. But will our history books and movies tell us this?
Around the 16th century, the native Indian tribe Powhatan initially lived happily in the Virginia area of the USA. But this peace was disturbed with the arrival of the English settlers. The Powhatans tried very hard to protect their land, and this led to a lot of wars between them and the English settlers, causing many deaths on both sides. Although the original Powhatan tribe was significantly defeated in battle with the English, some people falsely believe that the battles was because the Powhatans were like animals and behaved very aggressively and attacked every outsider, but this is not true, as the Powhatans were documented to be very friendly and nice and actually welcomed to the English settlers until they started encroaching on the Powhatan lands and properties, which caused them to retaliate against the settlers. In the Disney movie Peter Pan, the fact that Native Indians were red-skinned and not white-skinned was addressed, and in the movie, a story was told supposedly by an Indian chief of how a Native Indian prince had kissed a bride and blushed after that. Every Native Indian now blushes, and that's how their skin color became red. Given that the movie audience were kids, this may lead to a false perception of Native Indians in the young minds of the viewers. In many movies and novels, Native Indians like the Powhatans are usually made out of savages with super animal instincts and behavior, while their white counterparts are usually seen to be more controlled, more humanistic. This can clearly be seen in the movie Twilight Saga, where the Native Indian characters were called by degrading animal names like dog and mongrels, while their white counterparts were addressed by their real names. Although this was just a movie, it highlights the misconception that people still have today, that Native Indians are nothing but savages and do not deserve any respect. One cannot talk about the Powhatan tribe and not mention Pocahontas, the daughter of the chief of Powhatan. She is most famous for saving the life of an English settler who was captured by the Powhatan and would have been executed if Pocahontas had not come to save him. She later married John Rolfe, an English settler, and the general belief is that they were so much in love, and since then there has been many movies about the romance between Pocahontas and the Englishman. However, many other historians believe Pocahontas married the Englishman for the sake of peace, and as she wanted the constant wars between her and the English settlers to end. The true reason for his marriage remains unknown.
Most every Native American tribe has a different story to be told than the one that is in the history books. The tribe that my group picked was the Powhatan tribe. This tribe is most commonly known and represented by the Disney movie Pocahontas, where she and her tribe are greatly misinterpreted. The movie Pocahontas is based on a true story in our social studies book. In the movie, the Americans come to the Native American land and automatically think of themselves as superiors. They call the Powhatan tribe savages and think that the Native Americans are far below them. Pocahontas befriends one of them. In the real story of Pocahontas, Pocahontas is actually only 10 years old when she meets the 27-year-old John Smith, meaning that they were not at all romantically involved. In the end of the Disney movie, it appears as if the Native American and white people are now friends. In the real story, the 90% of the Powhatan tribe were wiped out because of infectious diseases and genocide. Because the white settlers believed in manifest destiny, they took over the Native American land and confined those Powhatan Native Americans who did live to reservations where they were subjected to assimilation policies. They suffered from poverty, alcohol, and suicide. Not to mention that Pocahontas wasn't actually allowed to pick whether or not she stayed with her tribe to go with John Smith like it was in the Disney movie. Instead, she was forced to go to England and marry John Rolfe, who said that he wanted to teach her Christianity. So think about that next time you watch the famous Native American movie Pocahontas.
Hey, it's Megan, and today I'm going to tell you about the struggles and disadvantages Native Americans face today, specifically Powhatan Indians. Powhatan Indians today are mostly located in Oklahoma and in Canada, which of who are from the New Jersey original people. Today they try and keep their history alive by teaching their children their history and the ways and responsibilities as humans. The Reservation Art Museum and Trails of the Powhatan Lenape Nation is toured among thousands of people, which helps their tribe keep its history by allowing others to learn about their way of life. Even festivals are created to keep their history alive. Yes, they are trying very hard to keep it alive by living out their history today with their old customs they used to inhabit it. That is all we have today on Native Americans Today. Thank you for watching. Please help us raise awareness for the Native Americans.